Coming in now, Kristina Baker, the head volleyball coach at Newton Falls. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me.
And when you talk about Newton Falls and the volleyball team, what kind of things are you looking at that you returned this year that make this team so special?
We have 5 seniors coming back this year, and I mean, they all have a lot of experience playing varsity. I have one girl, well, actually 2 girls that have started 3 years of varsity, and bringing in those other seniors too along with them. We have a setter that's a senior, bringing in a lot of experience, plus our junior, Natalie Albert, coming in. That's a junior. She got plenty of varsity experience last year too. So I feel like we have a solid core that's been with the program for a long time, and they've just been on the court playing varsity and high school experience, and I want them to have fun this year.
Coach, I mean, starting off the season winning 6 out of 7 sets, I mean, doing very well. You're 2-0 on the season. What have you seen that is working so well with the girls this year, and what have you been really impressed by?
I know coming in every year, you have to build some new chemistry with you're playing beside different people, possibly from last year, maybe a different rotation, but I feel like we've really taken on that role and really taken on, hey, we have to do this. This is what we've come to do. People in some different positions than they've used to, but I feel like they've stepped up in those positions when we've needed them to, and really embraced, what we're trying to do this year as a team.
When you look at the off season and you evaluated last year and you know what things you want to get better at this year, what were some things that you circled that you wanted to improve on from last year to this year?
I would say, I want them to communicate more. That's always a big goal for us, to get loud and be communicating with each other better out on the court. Being a little more aggressive out on the court, offensively and defensively. I always feel like there's always room for improvement with that. This group's a little bit on the quiet side, so I'm trying to get them to speak up a little more and be a little more hype, I guess, and rowdy, I guess, with each other and talk more.
You got an upcoming opponent tomorrow night at LaBrae. Preview this matchup a little bit and what you're expecting from the Vikings.
Anytime we're playing LaBrae, it's always a close match. We've had exciting games with them in the past years. And it's a league game. We're starting off the season right off, going into 2 league games. So LaBrae always has a solid team, and we always have a good matchup with them. And I know they're going to step on the court ready to play, and we're going to try to play right with them.
Highlight your captains and some of the leaders that you're going to lean on to lead this team this year.
I have Lexi Drake. She's coming back as an outside hitter. She's one of my seniors. Emily Knight, my libero this year. She's done a fantastic job playing defense for us in the past, and I expect her to step into that libero role for us this year and pick up right where she left off. Olivia Vallow has been real talkative and come on strong as a setter for us, and another senior. Sage Elliott and Cadence Stewart finish off my outside hitter and middle hitters as seniors. And like I said before, I have Natalie Albert. She's coming back as a junior this year, and her defense has really picked up, and I have her playing a different position, playing outside hitter position, where last year she was basically a defensive person for us, and she has really come on strong for us. And let's see, I have Kaylee Bloom and Jazzy Dangerfield coming in as juniors, and I'm also playing some sophomores. Danny Drake and Lauren Burvish are coming in as some defensive help for us, and I'm playing a freshman this year, Lily Sate, and she's coming on as a middle hitter. So I'm expecting a lot out of her, and her filling in and some people stepping into some roles where we need them to.
Talk to me a little bit more and highlight more of those freshmen that are stepping into those roles, because of course, as you know, older players they help with making a good team, but the younger players help make a good program. So highlight more of those freshman players and what you're expecting from them over the next coming years.
Well, I had 6 freshmen coming into this season. We had a lot of players. I have 19 girls on the team. Lily, that I'm playing in a middle hitter spot, she's excited to be out there, and those older girls have really brought her in. The juniors and seniors are really, accepted and encouraged her to do well. And even with having somebody young like that on the court with all those girls with experience, I think they've done a good job of communicating with her, kind of directing her, traffic wise out on the court. And she's been aggressive. She's excited. Like I said, she loves to play volleyball. Her mom is actually one of our past players that we've had. So she's kind of following in mom's footsteps a little bit. And she, like I said, she's fun to be around and she's willing to learn and coachable. So that's a lot of fun. All the freshmen that I've had come in this year have been very, you start off slow a little bit. You're coming in from transitioning from that junior high to high school, but they're really coming on strong and they've said they've learned a lot this year. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do in the future.
And talking about freshmen is a perfect segue to talk about the development of the youth in the Newton Falls program. What kind of things do you do to get them developed as possible before they get their freshmen, before they get to you as freshmen? Talk about your junior high programs and some of the things you do even before junior high.
Usually in the past, not the last couple of years due to, of course, COVID and stuff, we've done some camps and stuff for 5th and 6th graders, some skill things to try and bring them in with the high school girls just to show them skill work and learning some of the, just the talk of what volleyball is and learning some of the lingo and teaching skill at a younger age. And I have a pretty solid, I have a 7th grade coach that is actually one of my former players. And she's been down in the 7th grade now for, I think this is her 4th year. So having that stability down in the junior high, and she knows my expectations of them coming up into high school. So she's done a good job of kind of pushing them and I guess leading them into high school, showing them what is expected of them and pushing them in drills and kind of teaching them the same things that we're doing in the high school. She does a fantastic job. I have a new 8th grade coach this year, and she's really come on strong, and she knows a lot about the game too. Madison's kind of showing her the ropes down there, but it's always helpful to have somebody that's already gone through your program coming back and helping, which is always a positive thing. I also have another former player that helps me in the high school, so she's gone back and forth. She used to coach in the junior high too, so having that stability and former players and then coaches that stay on for several years has been helpful. Previously, I had an 8th grade coach, and he was probably down there. He was with me in the high school for probably 3 years and then went down to the junior high for probably another 3 years. So just having that stability with them and consistency going through junior high into high school, I think has helped.
We're just 2 years removed from Newton Falls, that big tournament run and that big playoff run that you guys went on where you guys ended up falling to the Dalton Bulldogs on that Halloween night. Talk to me about what needs to happen with this team to be able to replicate that success and get back to that point.
The biggest thing with that team that we had then is they played as a team. And I feel like that's what it's going to take this year. I lost 3 seniors last year, but they had been a big part of the team. So meshing them all together and having that team camaraderie, that fire, I guess, when you step on the court and being confident, I think is a big thing. Like I said, I'm trying to get them fired up a little more and be a little louder and out on the court. And I feel like they've accepted their roles and stuff. It's just, being consistent and you have it there, just go out and get it kind of attitude. That team, they definitely had a goal of getting to that tournament, and they wanted to be there, and they were willing to do whatever they needed to get there. So I'm hoping, come halfway through the season, you kind of make a turn in the team that, this is what we're going to do to get ready for the tournament kind of thing. You're not just getting through the season. And I'm hoping that this team is as accepting into that as past teams. And, it's just finding their groove and being where we need to be at the end of the season and playing it well together.
You talked about team camaraderie, and I'm sure having a normal summer was such a big impact to being able to build team chemistry and to be able to build that team atmosphere. Talk about what advantages having a normal summer back has meant to this program.
I mean, it's great to be, like you said, somewhat normal, and knowing we could come into the gym every day when we had open gyms and doing stuff over the summer. Everybody was there. It wasn't, we're waiting. I know at the beginning of open gym last year, we're out there washing balls and telling them you have to stay away from each other, which was all season last year. You kind of had to, hey, we want to come together as a team, but stay away from each other kind of attitude. And this year it was good to be, hey, we can come in and kind of do some of the fun stuff that we've done in the past and some of the team building activities that go along with us. Just building that chemistry over the season and being able to play all summer long was really good.
My final question for you, Coach, is actually going to be a two-parter. And of course, so we knock on wood because we know there's a dark cloud that looms over us that's trying to ruin all the fun. But 2 straight home matchups, 2 straight wins. Talk to me a little bit about what it's meant to have the Newton Falls faithful back in the attendance, supporting you guys for those 2 home games. And then second part of the question, talk to me a little bit about what you've had to talk to about you with your girls, again, going on to an away matchup with an away crowd being there as well.
We talk a little bit. I mean, I try to put the pressure on them a little bit in practice too, getting ready for big crowds. Over the last couple of weeks, when we've had some scrimmages, there have been quite a few fans there. So getting them used to playing in front of people, and boyfriends are going to show up now and stuff. And I try to kind of prepare them for the nerves they're going to have, especially having a big group of freshmen coming in. Our sophomores and our freshmen are sophomores had to go through that last year, so it wasn't as, we're going to have a big crowd at the game and stuff last year. That didn't happen, so they didn't have that experience as much. So we've done some things to try to get them past the nerves and get them ready. I tell them, you're going to go in and there's going to be people yelling at you on the sidelines and bigger people. To pay attention to all those crowds and stuff. You got to focus on your teammates on the court and pay attention to what's going on with your teammates and focus on what you need to do on the court. Not worry about the crowds and mom and dad and boyfriends and everything. And we are going to go into some not so friendly environments where there are going to be, football teams coming to the games and some other people. So, that's just a fact you have to face. And I hope they're ready for that, even though as much as I try to prepare them for that, but hopefully we'll get that jitters out of our system early, and towards the end of the season, it won't be as bad. It's just that's part of the process, I guess, coming into high school too. As far as us, I try to encourage them to be safe. I know we've talked about, are you wearing a mask, who's vaccinated kind of thing, and encouraging people to, be safe when you're out in the community, as well as just in the gym. I try to make sure they're washing their hands, hand sanitizer, doing things just to make sure that, we're doing what we need to as a team, and as well as preparing for the game as well. So, it's one day at a time, and I try have them just enjoy the moment when they get a chance to come into the gym and make the much of it as possible. So it's day to day.
Talk about the Newton Falls community and how much they support you and how much that means to this program, and what makes Newton Falls so special.
We've always had, parents have always been very supportive and coming to games and such. And I know, probably when I first started there wasn't, I'm going into my 15th season. When I first started, they didn't have hardly any crowds and everything. So now it's kind of a, we got people ask for tickets to come in, or, hey, when's your schedule and stuff like that. So the community has always been very supportive of us, especially through the last few years, and as well as the girls have done. It's nice to see the community is taking notice of their success and the hard work the girls have done. And it's great to have that small town community feel to it. And the girls go to shops and stuff here in town, and people recognize who they are and say, hey, I've seen you on TV, since we've had some YouTube games on the last couple of years and stuff, or talking about the tournaments, or seen their pictures in the paper, or asked about them. So, they've gotten a lot more recognition, and it's great to have that small community support wherever they go and see the big crowds coming in. I know this year we're hoping to get more of those regular people that used to come in before last year, when we were only allowed to have families. We had quite a few alumni and people that just enjoyed coming to the game. So I'm hoping that we'll start back up.
We know that head coaches get all the kind of praise, all the interviews, all the limelight, but wouldn't be anywhere without a staff. You've talked about your junior high coaches. Talk a little bit about the high school staff and the people that help you make this program what it is.
Like I said, I've had, well, you probably know my husband. My husband, Mark, has been with me since I started up. He didn't know anything about volleyball, and he's always been willing to help out, helping doing stats. And this year he had to take on the role of my JV coach again. He used to do it a few years back, but I brought one of my former players in, and she wasn't able to do it this year. So he's had to step into that role again. And I mean, he's a great teacher, great at teaching the skills and doing what I need him to do. You probably know him from girls basketball, that he's competitive, and that's what we're trying to get the girls to do. And taking on teaching those skills. And I know I can send him with a group of girls and, hey, let's do this, this, and this, and he can get it done. I've also had Lindsay Harris come in, one of my former players. She helps out, and she was one of my setters like the second year I coached. So having her be able to come in and help out with the girls has been great too, because like I said, former players know the expectations when they walk in this gym, and they're great at pushing the girls and encouraging them. I've had former players come on, and we've had speaker conversations where they've talked about, past when they played, and talking to the girls about being motivated and stuff. So that's always a help. I've had former players at the games. Last night I think I had 5 alumni at the game last night. So the girls seeing them in the stands and all that is always a big part of it too. But having that consistency, Tony Huschauer, he used to be my 8th grade coach. He's come on to help when we've needed him to. And he's been here for about 6 or 7 years, also helping with the program. So having that in the junior high and the high school, and everybody's consistent with what we're trying to do here.
Before we let you go, just lay out some goals that you have for this team overall, and maybe at the end of the season, if we got to talk to you again, some of the things that you would want to check mark at the end of the season that you've seen from your team.
Like I said, communication is a big one. Them speaking up, go out and cheer on yourself, be positive when you go out there, and the communication is part of that, being confident. Also, in being aggressive. I've always taught, defense starts and our offense finishes, but I want you to be aggressive the whole entire time. So really getting them to buy into that. I know starting off the season, a lot of it is, you're getting used to people and stuff, but I want them to come out and really be hungry for it and play with that heart at the end of the season, because that's when it really matters the most.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. I know it's limited. We appreciate you hopping on here on a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you so much again. We look forward to covering you guys the rest of the year, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me on.